You know what? Love is love. And that's what I titled this live. Love is love. Today is Valentine's Day and happy Valentine's Day. I typically don't say it only to, my husband, my children, my brothers, my father, but I'm here to say love is love. And I hope everyone has love in their life, even if it's just you having love for yourself, you having love for God, you having love for life. And I had mentioned to you yesterday about how I never really celebrated Valentine's Day because of my parents' business. However, even growing up, my brothers and my father used to always give me something for Valentine's Day. And I'm just so happy that my husband is the same way, not just for me, but for our children. So if you are a parent, make sure you give your children something special for Valentine's Day. You know, just to let them know that you love them. They have some wonderful cards out there for children, for your young adults, or, whatever their age. And just to show them like, I really appreciate you. But I hope that you're doing that all throughout the year, the just because. Get them used to getting things just because. I know I'm coming on a little bit later today. Oh, it was a long night last night. Listen, you're not late. I'm late. Loving myself. Thank you for being here. I am late this morning, so no apologies for sure. But this morning I was thinking, I don't believe I've ever shared the story of how I was proposed to. And, it was just a really interesting way. When I dated my husband, we used to go out a lot. Oh my goodness. That's why I almost lived my life backwards in that way, I guess. Or maybe most people, when they were young, they didn't do a lot. Maybe they were, had to work really hard, or were young parents, or they just didn't have access to going out a lot. Happy Valentine's Day, loving myself. And, so when they got grown or older, they may have moved to some place that was more metropolitan, that had more action, more things to do. And as they got older and matured, they found themselves hanging out more than even when they were younger. And so I think I need to change probably my mascara. I think that's what it is. So for me, growing up top, and so I'm in Charlotte, but anyone that's from New Jersey or New York, we call up there up top. And so, growing up top, I had access to a lot of things going out. I mean, places stayed open to the wee hours of the morning, just some really interesting experiences. And so when I dated my husband, we went out and had a great time together a lot. It could be a play on Broadway, it could be a concert, comedy show, it could be a club where we dancing, it could be a great restaurant, it could be anything. We would go and have a really, really good time. And, I worked on Wall Street in Manhattan. And so during the off season, which right now for football players is the off season, he didn't have the same schedule that I had. Yes, he worked out, but he didn't have to, be in the office by 9:30 in the morning. I loved my first job out of college, y'all. Listen, I had to be there by 9:30 in the morning, and I was done by 5:30 in the evening, right? When I first started, they told me lunches, I have 2 hours to take lunch, but I could take lunch between 12 and 2. And I'm thinking they're telling me I have a 2-hour lunch. So I took lunch between 12 and 2 every day for 3, 4 years. I took a 2-hour lunch every day, and it was myself and a dear friend, Alvinda. If she's listening in, that was my girl. She still is to this day. And we would be all over New York. We would take the train up to Harlem. We'd be down by South Street Seaport. We would get our nails done, go to soul food restaurants, walk around, go shopping. We did so much, and nobody ever checked us. No one ever said, "Y'all not supposed to take lunch for 2 hours. It's just between 12 and 2. Like, take lunch between 12 to 1, or 1 to 2, or 12:30 to 1." No. But when I started, he told me lunch is between 12 and 2. That's 2 hours. So that's what's up. And so I I was like, I enjoyed it, trust. So really, I didn't work that long, from 9:30 to 5:30, but I had a 2-hour lunch in between. Alvinda and I shared an office, and we were really good friends, turned out to be really, really good friends to this day, and so we had a good time in our office having conversations. We both were dating our husbands at the same time, and her husband, he was from New Jersey, but he lived in Atlanta, so she was going to Atlanta to visit, and, so we always just had stories, and it was just a good time, and I loved her, and I still do. And Terica Moore, welcome in. How are you doing? Thank you. Thank you so much. And welcome to the team, Terica. Welcome to the team. And I hope you continue to enjoy my content. I have a lot of content, lives, pre-recorded videos, shorts, community posts, and I hope that you definitely find something that you truly enjoy here. TWP Popcorn was popping with you. How you doing? Hope things are well for you today. So because it's off season especially, and I'm dating my husband, we would go out, after work. I would just come home, I would take a quick nap, or I would sleep on the bus because I took the train to the bus to leave New York to come back to New Jersey. I would get home. I still lived with my parents, and because it was too expensive to live on my own up there. Um, and then I would take a nap until about 8 o'clock. And then, or like I said, I would sleep on the bus. I definitely would sleep on the bus. Um, and then I would take a nap, and then he would come get me like 9 o'clock, and we would go out. And this was could be on a Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday, whatever. And that's just what we was doing. And we would have a good time. And I didn't care. I was like, it is what it is. So, and even during the season, because in the NFL, they all teams have off on Tuesdays. Because okay. I have to wait a few minutes because I'm probably muted. I had a phone call come in. Y'all, I haven't figured out how to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Loving myself, TW Popcorn. Can y'all hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. Okay, perfect. So thank you for the hearts. Thank you. And so on Tuesdays, the NFL teams have off. They have the games on Sunday, sometimes a Monday night game or whatever. But if you have typically the game on Sunday, then Monday you come in a little bit later than typically. But review the game, look at film, and if you need to have any kind of physical therapy or anything like that to see the trainers or whatever, that's what they would do. And then Tuesdays were their days off. I mean, they could still go in if they wanted to, but typically that was their day off. So when my husband played, especially after we got married, Tuesdays, we would go out to breakfast, just hang out. He would just chill. It was, really, really nice. That was like our Saturday, I guess. And but when we were dating on his Tuesdays, I wouldn't really do anything because I'm at work. But that Monday night, we hanging out. And so my weeks, I'm telling you, I would be so tired sometimes, but it was a good time. I knew I was young. I didn't have any children. I didn't have anyone to take care of but myself. So I was like, I'll sleep when I can. I'll catch it when I get it. So um we have been dating for 3 years, and we have been talking about getting married a little bit, not nothing major. And he had just signed a new contract with the LA Rams at the time. They were still in LA. They hadn't moved to St. Louis yet. So he was going to be going on the West Coast. And I was like, yo, that's far. I never was going to be one of those girlfriends that would chase a guy all around the country. I was never going to be that. And I let him know that, like that's not how I'm built. Because I know plenty of women that do that. They chase men all over. If they move to wherever, they going, and they're just girlfriends. I don't want to call it just, but they're not married. They don't have any documentation. There's nothing formalized. And that's just not, how I'm made up. So he had his contract, and it was the spring of the year, and we had been going out. And this one particular night, I was just really tired. Now, let me tell you, our first date, I met him, first of all, when he first got drafted by the Giants, and shortly after, he purchased a condo in New Jersey. And I went to college with his best friend that he grew up with. And so his best friend had invited myself and my college roommate that, we were roommates in college together, and we both were from Jersey. And He invited us over to my husband's new condo because my husband didn't really know a lot of people in Jersey except, his teammates or whatever. And his best friend knew that we didn't live too far, so he was like, come through. And I remember because I was coaching basketball as well, and I had on a sweatsuit, and I was just not really like I had like you remember those rain kind of sweatsuits? They were real cute, but it is what it is. And it was a Saturday, and I just was like, I don't really feel like going. And my mother was just like, you should go. And if nothing else, to see, I was really going to see his best friend because I actually was I was just going to go see his best friend, let's just say that. And so my college roommate really wanted to go too. So she was like, "Come on, let's go." So we ended up going. I still just wore my sweatsuit. That's kind of how I was rocking. I was a coach, and even I was clean now, but I just was wearing sweatsuits and stuff back then too. And I'm glad that I had a sweatsuit on because it was a brand new condo. He did not have any furniture. He just had 2 bar stools and a bed. He didn't have his, living room set. He didn't have his kitchen table, none of that. So I remember there were 2 other girls from Brooklyn, and back then that's when women were wearing spandex dresses. Y'all remember black spandex dresses? That's so wild. So they had on spandex dresses. My college roommate, she was kind of dressed up, but I had a sweatsuit on. And there were 3 guys there. My now husband, his best friend, and their other best friend that they grew up with that I heard so much about because my husband's best friend and I were really cool in college. And he always had funny stories, and he was a cool guy. And so I remember he used to want me to take him a couple of times to where my husband went to school. And he was like, my homeboy, lives, goes to school out there. But I always thought he just wanted me to take him to go see a girl or something. I ain't driving you over there, whatever. But at any rate, we're in the condo, and my husband loves to sit on the floor. I mean, to this day, that's just what he loves. So even at people's houses, I mean, he'll start off on a chair, but you see him just ease down and he gets comfortable, and that's what it is. So he's comfortable sitting on his floor, and I have a sweatsuit on, so I'm sitting on the floor. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you. And I see Jenny Lee Days is in the building. Welcome in. Welcome in. Thank you. You love the floor too? That's funny. Alicia's Adventures in Cruising. How was the Super Bowl cruise? How are you? Happy Valentine's Day. Your Alicia's Adventures in Cruising went on a Super Bowl cruise over the weekend, and it looked like it was fun, especially the pre-cruise party. So, and thanks for bringing us along with you. But at any rate, I'm sitting on the floor with him too, and we're talking, vibing, had a lot in common, and I just really enjoyed his company. So I remember when I was leaving and he gave me a hug and stepped on my foot. It was just crazy. But the other girls and my roommate, they couldn't really get comfortable. They couldn't just sit on the floor. And it was just, I don't know, it was just, I just felt like it was me and him there. And so when I was leaving, he stepped on my feet and Bigfoot. And so he asked me for my phone number, like, can I call you sometime? And I was like, yeah. So he called me the very next day, and we spoke for hours. The next day was Sunday, and we spoke for hours. And then Tuesdays, like I said, was his day off. And so I went over to see him on that Tuesday, and we just enjoyed each other's company. Like it felt like I knew him for my whole life. And our first real date where, it was like that next Friday, I believe, or that next Thursday, maybe that Thursday. So Tuesday, then Thursday. And we went to this restaurant and we loved it. Oh my goodness, the food was delicious, the ambiance was phenomenal, and we never went back. In 3 years after that first real date, we never went back to that restaurant. So again, fast forward 3 years later, and we were supposed to go out. I can't remember what day of the week it was, but it was in May. But it was like a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know. It was one of those days in May. And we were supposed to go out, but I was like, I'm tired. I can't do it. I have to, I have to sleep. I'll see you tomorrow, boom, boom, boom. And I was in my bedroom sleep. And my sister-in-law, Dottie, shout out to Dottie. She and my brother, my oldest brother, they came over, and that's his wife. Sheldon, shout out to you. I love you, Willie. And thanks for the hearts. And so Dottie came up to my bedroom and was like, "Sherri, you gotta go. Like, you need to wake up. You need to go out." And I was like, "What?" She was like, "No, for real, you need to." And I had like changed into some like lounge clothes or whatever. And she was like, "You need to go. Like, wasn't your husband, well, your boyfriend or whatever, weren't you supposed to go out?" I was like, "Yeah." And it didn't dawn on me, like, how she know we're supposed to go out? But she was like, "Okay, well, you need to go. You need to get up. You need to go." And so I was like, "I don't care. Like, I'm not going. I'm real tired." She said, "Okay, well, at least come downstairs with me." And I was like, "All right." She said, "No, but you have to change. Like, you can't come downstairs like that." And I was like, "I'm in, my house. What you mean?" She was like, "Trust me, please. I can't tell you anything. Just please change your clothes." So I just threw on maybe some jeans and a top and, some sandals or something. And I went down into our family room. And when I walked down the stairs, right at the base of the stairs was this tremendous bouquet of roses. It had to be at least, I don't even remember how many. It was like 4 dozen of my favorite color. My favorite color rose are peach roses, and it was at least 4 or 5 dozens of those, and they were tall, like 5 feet tall, and they just looked so heavenly. It was, like this, um, kinda like cotton in there. It looked like cotton. It looked like the clouds were interwoven in the roses, and it was almost my height. I'm 5'7", 5'8", and the roses came up to, like, my chest. They were so tall, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, like, these are so beautiful." And I'm looking around, and my parents were there, my oldest brother, and again, his wife. And I was just like, "Wow, these are so gorgeous." And they was like, "This," like, "Look, like, there's a card. These are for you." And so I'm looking, and there's a card, and I still have the card to this day. I should have brought it down with me. And it said, "Dear Sherri, I love you. If you will marry me, please say yes." And I was like, "What?" And then, and accept this ring. And the ring was in those cottons. Like, it was like a scavenger hunt. I had to find the the ring, and I found it, and I was like, "Oh my goodness." And I promise you, this was 1994. This is way before, cell phones or anything. And as soon as I got the ring, it was like on cue, the phone rang, and it was my husband my boyfriend, but my husband now. And I answered the phone, and he was like, "So what do you think?" And I said, "Yes, yes, yes. Oh my goodness, yes. Like, where are you? Where are you?" And he was like, "Just you'll see me, like, just, you'll see me." So I hung up with him, and because my sister-in-law and everybody, my mother was like, "Hang up the phone, you gotta go, you gotta go." And I'm like, "Go where? Go where?" They said, "You just gotta go." And so they ushered me outside, and when I walked outside, there was a limousine out there, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, like, he must be in the limousine." And so, when I went to the limousine and the driver had the door open, I looked inside and he wasn't in there, and I was like, "Where is he? Where is he?" And they was like, "You gotta go, like, just go." Now, mind you, I don't have my purse. All I have is, like, my top, jeans, and some sandals. Luckily, right? Because my sister was like, "Girl, you don't want to wear what you have on. You need to change." And I just put on like the most basic thing. And so I got into the limousine, and my parents were out there, my brother and his wife, and they was like waving. It was almost like I was going to the prom or something. And we're driving, the driver's driving me. And at some point, it looked like he was going into New York. And then I started thinking, like, yo, I got this big ring on. Is he going to, like, oh, is this real? Is he going to like rob me? Like, where am I going? Because I asked him, the driver, I was like, "Where are we going?" And he was like, "I can't tell you." And then I was thinking, like, he going to rob me. He going to take my ring. Like, I was started getting nervous. And we pull up to this restaurant, and y'all, it's the restaurant that my husband and I went to for our very first date. And I hadn't seen it in 3 years, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, like, this is that restaurant. We love this place." And, the driver opens the door, and he's like, "Congratulations, I wish you all the best, and your husband, your future husband is waiting inside." I was like, "Oh," and I, like, ran inside, and my husband was sitting there, and he saw me coming, and he stood up, and then he got down on his knee and was like, "So?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, yes." And I hugged him. And I remember we sat down, like, right next to each other, not across from each other, and it was just like, it was so dope. And, I guess I'm like a hard person to surprise or whatever. because my husband was saying how, like, that day he was trying to catch me before I left to go to work, before I got on the bus. And I got on the bus and he was driving, like honking the horn. He wanted the bus driver to pull over and he was honking the horn trying to get my attention, but I would not look out the window. And so I ended up going to work for that day. He had to change his whole plans. To this day, I don't know what his plans would have been, for that day, but he definitely coordinated it with my brother because my brother, he liked doing stuff like that. And yeah, it was so cool. And that's how I was asked to be Mrs. And, from that day on, we went into full gear to, try and plan as much as possible because he had to leave in, I believe it was July or the end of June to go to California, for camp and everything. And so we found the place, got the date, all that. And then I was out back and forth to LA every month and I would stay for like a week and a half, because I'm his fiance. I'm not just his girlfriend. And it was really cool. Most of my line sisters, a lot of them were in my wedding, and it was just a beautiful thing, y'all. So I never shared that story with you here on YouTube. I could take this light off. I never shared that story with you, and I wanted to this morning because I was thinking about it. And again, um, I want to get my wedding video. I want to get it converted into like a link or into a some other form, like a thumbnail or something. There he is. And so that I can share it with my father and my mother-in-law because no one has DVD players or well, VHS. It's on a VHS right now because we got married in 1995, and I want them to be able to see it and see the loved ones that have passed on, y'all. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so that was it. All right, I'm gonna go, and I actually have a 9 o'clock virtual meeting, so I'm going to be tuned in on that. I'll be tuned in on that, and yeah. All right, everyone, you have a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful day. Love yourself more than anything because you deserve it. And if you don't have that someone special, do something special for yourself. Again, you deserve it. Have higher expectations. And if you don't have someone, write out who that someone would be. I remember, and this is just another quick, and then I have to go for real because I know y'all can look at the clock and are like, well, Coach Sherri, you have a 9 o'clock. What's going on? Um, but when teaching soft skills, like getting people ready for the workplace or whatever, and when they first would come to my class, because I'm an adjunct as well, and I've been one for many years, at a community college. Oh, I know y'all can't see me at all. I'm trying to get the lighting back. Oh, why is it blinking like that? You see that? What is it? Memorex? It said you doing too much. You doing too much. I'm sorry. That is so wild, isn't it? I probably have to charge it. Let me see. I want to give some more light. I apologize. Oh, you're probably like, Coach Sherri, what in the world are you doing? I don't know. So people would say to me, I would ask, like, what type of career are you looking to have? What type of job do you want to search for or get? And they would say, you know what, Miss Jones, Miss, I want a job, any job, just a job, any job, just anything. And I would say, what? That's what you'll get. If you're not specific, you'll get whoever, you'll get whatever. If you say, I just want a man, any man, that's what you'll get. I want a woman, any woman, that's what you'll get. So be very specific. Who are they? What do they do? How do they treat you? How do they treat themselves? What type of person, are they? What do they like? Do they like the same things that you enjoy? Do they honor and cherish the person that they're with? Are they respectable? Do they, have good manners? Do they enjoy living life? Who are they? So if you are out there on the search, on the hunt or whatever, be very specific with the person that you want to be with you forever. And look at it like that. Even if it's for a moment, always go into a relationship looking at a person like this might be the person forever. I know before I met my husband when I was younger, I would look at people like, I can't mess up with this person because I wouldn't want them to be the father of my children. So I gotta go. So look at them like that. Is this a person worthy to be the father of your child? Um, because that matters. If you are just out here just having a good time, oof, good times turn into bad situations sometimes. I'm not saying don't have a good time, but you can have a good time with the right person, but you got to know who that right person is for you. So be specific and it'll happen. And you might have to wait a little bit. You may have to, but you may not have to at the same time because that perfect person is right there. And a lot of times it's not how they look on the outside, it's but how they look on the inside. And that will radiate on the outside for sure. Before I go, I'm just gonna go through the chat and I apologize because I can't really see too good. So I I have a challenge. So let's see. Everyone is saying hello. Oh, I'm thankful for you, Jenny Lee Days. Thank you. Thank you so much. Your children don't have school due to the weather? Oh, wow. What is it next week? Is it like some type of I guess it wouldn't be spring break, so why would they be off all next week too? I wish we had some days when we didn't have the weather. Yes. All right. Because I mean, our weather has not, I said it before, we have not had inclement weather in a long time. And I guess they say, be careful what you ask for because we may get something that will be just terrible. And I don't want it to be terrible, but I would love to see some significant snowfall for sure. Yes. Good. I'm glad you had a blast, Elisa. I'm glad. Oh, thank you, TWP Popcorn. You dropped my buy me a coffee. And look, I changed mine to buy me a smile because I had stopped drinking coffee. So I was like, I gotta say something else. What could it be? And I changed it to buy me a smile, but buy me a coffee. Thank you for dropping that link. And Big Rooster Show is in the building. Hello to you. Great to see you. I hope that you're going live tonight. Well, maybe not. I don't know if you have plans for tonight. Yeah. I hope everyone have a wonderful, wonderful day. And thanks for coming in and spending this time of the morning with me. And be good to yourself. And remember, practice hard, practice every day because you just never know. You may have to go in and hit that last shot so that you all can win. It's been my pleasure. I am Coach Sherri.